Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wherever you are, remember, you have greatness inside of you. Welcome back to another ABS Daily News with your hockey coach guru, Coach Frenchy. Today, episode number 160. What you have with the mini coach? First of all, preview game between the Minnesota and the Montreal Canadiens. Then I'm going to give you some news about where and how Montreal could take advantage or benefit of Sean Monahan and Joel Edmundson. Then a couple news around the Montreal Canadiens. Carey Price met the media during a press conference yesterday. And finally, I predict what is going happening to JURAJ SLAFKOVSKY after he met the doctor today. So don't go nowhere. And before we start, we invite you, don't forget to click on the like, subscribe to the Hockey National Show. Leave me a comments about this episode. So let's move on and talking about the first subject of the day. First subject of the day, guys, is the preview game between the Minnesota Wild versus the Montreal Canadiens. First of all, let's talking by number. I like to talk to you about friend information you need to know before the game start. The Montreal Canadiens are 3-3-0. Scoring chance are 28 in NHL at 44.1%. The goal per game are at 2.67, 27 at the bottom in NHL. Goal again, pretty good, 3.00. The power play at the bottom with 5.6%. The PK is 11 in NHL. The record, again, the Minnesota Wild last season are 0-2-0. For the Wild, not very good so far in 5 games, are 1-3-1. They are 23rd on the scoring chance in NHL. They are number 6 on goal per game. Pretty good overall whatsoever. They have only 1 W. Then the goal, again, this is where they struggle a lot. 5.40. They are at the bottom in NHL goal against. Then they are second power play. And they are 22nd on the PK. Like I mentioned, they beat the Montreal Canadiens twice last season. I'll just give you an idea. They are really extremists. They work, or they are really good on different area of the game. And on the other side, they really struggle. So it'll be interesting what kind of team is going to show up against the Montreal Canadiens tonight at the Bell Center. Now, I want to talk about something. Zuccarello, guys, have 10 points, 4 goals, and 6 assists in 5 games only. Pretty great start from Zuccarello, the veteran of the Wild. Then Kaprizov continues to performing 4 goals, 4 assists with the Wild. Both of them have 40% most of the goals for the Wild since the beginning of the season. The next one I want to talk about is the rookie. Cal Addison have already 6 points and 5 games for them. Is going to be on the second pairing for the Wild for this tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. On the flip side, let's talk about the Montreal Canadiens. First of all, they struggle. Again, the team are really physical. We know Wild are big. Their forecheck is really excellent. The player like Foligno, Eriksson, AK, Hartman, Grenier is not there with them, but otherwise, the Wild are really physical team, and Montreal could have some kind of problem like they did the last time against a Dallas Star. The second thing I want to talk about this is the Montreal cannot have penalty against the Minnesota Wild because they are number 2 on power play. That's where they are really important. Montreal have to get out of the penalty box, cannot be there against the Wild. Then I want to talk about the 3 better when you talk about coach. But Montreal, if they have a chance to win tonight, they have to be better on the decision making, on the transition, and on the power play. They are at the bottom, 31st on power play with their 5.6. The transition one is not there. They struggle. They have to be sure they have that kind of transition, and those kind of player as a defenseman like Jordan Harris carrying the puck. Chris Whiteman is another one, or the player like Kirby Dak, Nick Suzuki. 2 of them are really good to carry on the puck on the transition. This is going to help in Montreal to have better chance to beat the Wild. Finally, the decision making. I think Montreal Canadiens, when they feel some pressure behind the goal line on the defensive zone, that's why they struggle. They have to be quicker and faster on the decision making on the 3 zone anyway. That will give them a better chance to beat the Wild tonight at the Bell Center. So just give you an idea, guys. Then finally, I want to give you the lineup of the Montreal Canadiens and the Wild tonight at the Bell Center. This is not confirmed, but that's what we expect for what I heard today. First of all, the Wild are going to have a couple of shaking in the lineup because Goudreau usually play on the second line, play between Kaprizov and Zuccarello. Rossi, since the beginning of the year, they have 0 point, play on an average of 8 minutes per game, play usually on the 4 line. Now he have a promote and play second line between Baldi. Have a good year so far. Baldi has point and 5 games, 3 goals, 3 assists. Foligno is going to be the left winger. Finally, on the third line, Hartman with Eriksson, AK, and Zuheim is going to play on the third. Finally, the last one is going to be Sam Steele and Tyson Just. We don't know if it's going to be Connor DeWar or Mason Shaw on the 4 line. Then the line for the pairing defenseman, Middleton, Spurgeon. Then you have Broden, Addison, and finally Merrill and Dumba are going to be the third pairing for the Wild. We expect Marc-André Fleury to be between the pipe. For the Montreal Canadiens, no change. Same lineup we was again at Dallas Star. We know JURAJ SLAFKOVSKY is out. Expect to see Ren Pitlick as the 4 line. Play with Jake Haven and Hoffman. Otherwise, same situation. Drouin, Dak, Anderson, Gallagher with Devorak and Dadonov. Finally, Caulfield, Nizinski with the veteran, 28 years old, Sean Monahan. Defenseman, same pairing, the defenseman. Coley, Savard, Aris Kovacevic, and finally, Jack I with Chris Whiteman. We expect Jake Allen between the pipe for the Montreal Canadiens. The game starts at 7 o'clock. We invite you to join us tonight. We're going to do the play-by-play for the Hockey Nation Live show. So let's move on now, guys, for the next subject of the day. The next subject of the day, guys, I want to give you a little bit an idea what I expect possibly Montreal Canadiens make some change at some point at the trade deadline. I know it's a bit early in October, but the reason I'm talking this way is because Ken Hughes, during an article, during an interview on the Atlantic website, he talked about they're really looking for the third first-round pick 2023. We know they have their own picks. They have the pick of the Florida Panthers, and now they're looking to add one more. And the only way they can do this is to make some trade. One, the first player I want to talk about is really Sean Monahan and Joel Edmundson. Let's start with Monahan first. Listen, Monahan right now is a UFA at the end of this year. This is the final year contract, and possibly Montreal Canadiens could trade him if the value is there. We know at the trade deadline, they have only 3 center. Possibly they could change address, and honestly, I can only see 2. Jonathan Toews and Bo Horvat for the Vancouver Canucks. I'm pretty sure Dylan Larkin is going to return it with the Detroit Red Wings. That gave a better way or a better chance for the Montreal to trade Sean Monahan and to get a first-round pick for a team battle for the spot and play out for upcoming season. We know Monahan right now have a great start and possibly to have a good year to play with the Zuski Caulfield to get more point. We know we have a couple of great years with Johnny Gaudreau with the Flames. So it will be interesting where or how the Monahan is going to do for the next couple of months with the Montreal. Another players one I want to talk about is Joel Edmundson. He had one more year at $3.5 million following this year. My point to you, Edmundson, is because I believe the young players, defensemen, Harris, Jack I, and Coley, with one more year experience under their belt, they could be ready to play on the left side of the Montreal Canadiens for next season, 23-24, behind Mike Madison. I think a Coley could become a second pairing defenseman next year, and then you could have Jack I or Harris on the third pairing. I think that would be a great way, and Joel Edmundson have a good asset around the league. Many teams call Montreal Canadiens during the offseason. We know he got hurt on the lower back problem, but I think it would be beneficial for Montreal to trade him and open another spot and to get in return a first-round pick at the trade deadline. I would not be surprised if both of them have a good year. The other 2 players possibly to get trade at the trade deadline, Jonathan Drouin and Dadonov. So far, I don't see anything major in return. This complete, guys, another subject of the day. Let's move on now for the next subject. So my next subject, guys, is about Carey Price. He met the media yesterday for over 20 minutes at the Bell Center. And honestly, we did not learn a lot more what we already know. The only thing he gave us is an update of his situation. But we know already he's not going to be returned for the Montreal Canadiens for upcoming year. He's really struggled with some issues with his hip, with his knee and with his ankle. And he mentioned this during the conference yesterday. And he tried, honestly, to really recover his health best he can be. And that's the reason why he's going to stay around with the Montreal Canadiens for the upcoming season, because he wants to get treatment and brassard. He missed the fact, the locker room, he missed to be around the players, so he's not going to go nowhere. He's not going to return at Kelowna or in British Columbia. He's going to stay for the full year in Montreal to continue to try to recover at the best he can be. The second thing he talked about is no words about retire. He never mentioned this, but when you're listening to the press conference, he talked in the past many times. This for me, for the way he talked about his injury, the way he can recover, and the chance he will never possibly not get a surgery. I don't see him to return with the Montreal Canadiens. This is going to be the end for him as the NHL career players. Like I said, he's going to stay around the team. He talked a little bit to another article today on the Athletic, Carey Price problem, the alcohol. He opened up to talk about his problem he got for many years, unfortunately, during his career, with so many pressure. It was the way he can calm down, and that was maybe the best way to feel less pressure and really open up about his problem. You remember in 2021, last year, and the first week in October, after a couple of days, 6 to 7 days, it was really the time for him to ask her for help, because he was not feeling good after he drank every single night at home in the basement. And he had to figure out this is maybe the right time right now. If not, I don't know what would be the next thing happening in my life. I need to take care about myself. I need to take care and do it for my kids. And since that, he never drank again, and he felt happy for what we saw yesterday. He came from the Premier Nation in the British Columbia area, and we know those people have a long history with friend problem with drug, alcohol, everything, and he want to get out of that situation, and that's the reason he want to open up and helping people struggle. He have a story about the one night he was out at the bar on the road with Nate Thompson. We know Thompson had some problem a couple years ago. He's now 6 years free with no alcohol. And Price asked him a lot of questions about his situation, how he recovered, how he did this, everything like that. And Thompson is opened up some kind of red flag about Carey Price. Overall, not many players around him figure out he was a drinker. He was really quiet or hide about his problem, and unfortunately we know the pressure he got with Montreal Canadiens is something. Finally he fight and he win, and now he did not drink since he get out of his rehabilitation. Definitely he couldn't make an impact to talking about his problem about the alcohol. Finally, guys, I want to finish this with my next subject of the day. I want to talk about JURAJ SLAFKOVSKY. At the moment I'm doing this video, it did not hurt anything for the Montreal Canadiens. But when I'm looking a little bit deeper, I predict, first of all, JURAJ is going to meet the doctor today, is going to have some result. Martin Saint-Louis prediction is going to talk about this. I predict, my prediction is going to go on the ER for the next couple of days. We know Montreal is going to be on the road. I don't see him to go with them on the road. Recovery, that will give up, open up a spot for Joel Armia come back and the Montreal Canadiens lineup on the road, and see after that what could happen. So this is my prediction. It's not what Montreal said yet. Would be if I was right or wrong. Only we're going to know this a little bit later during the day. Complete, guys, all the subject I have for you for the episode 160. Here we go. That's it. That's all. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. But before we leave, we invite you, don't forget to subscribe, click on the like, leave me a comment, and please sharing this video, episode 160. And definitely, I want to wish you an amazing, great day. And want to remind you, of course, you know, you have greatness inside of you. I can't wait to see you next video of the AB Daily News.